What's up, fam? It's your boy Cleet the Geek. I'm excited for this new segment. All right. Look, this has been a plan in the making for basically been for years. All right. Now, let me preface this. Okay. You see the title, right? We're reviewing the first round of the NBA playoffs. Now, this is my bro, what I'm saying? My brother from another mother, my
Yo, yo.
brother-in-law. Yeah. This G Dub in the building. What's up, G Dub? Say what's up to the peeps.
What's up, people? Let's get it, man.
Yeah. All
NBA
right.
playoffs round one.
That's right. So listen, we're here to break it down. You know what we do on this channel. We break down movies, shows, sports, right? So this is the sports review. Now, you see my boy G Dub here. We talk all the time about all this stuff, right? So what I wanted to do is like, hey man, let me let you in on some of our conversations because I feel like we have some really good breakdowns. We have some first take type debates, you know what I mean? So we wanted to bring that to you guys and let y'all, sit in on it. And then, comment in the comment section. Tell us what y'all think. Give us y'all 2 cents. You know what I mean? So we're going to dive into it. You'll see me kind of looking down here a little bit because my confidence screen is here. I can see Dub here. So I want to look at him when I break down and I give my point. So I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm going to keep looking at you, but I might be looking at him a few times to let him know. All right. But we're gonna cover the playoffs and we're gonna talk about the first round, what takeaways we have. We're gonna give a little prediction for round two, which is going on as we speak. All right. So, we just trying to get it in now and then we'll be ahead of the game, hopefully, for into round two. So before we go any further, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure, hit that notification bell so that you get all the notifications when we drop a new episodes. All right. All right, Dub, what you got? Any intro? What you got for the peeps?
All right. So, I want to state this for the record. As y'all may know, your boy Cleet the Geek is I mean, last I heard he was a LeBron fan, but you never know. The contract could have changed. Things could have changed because LeBron is in Cancun right now, enjoying his beautiful family. But I don't subscribe to that notion of what he does. No matter what, ride or die,
Okay.
Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat, what I'm saying?
Oh
Miami
man.
Hurricanes, man. We from the crib, 305 Dade County, Broward County. Maybe I'll throw
Okay.
Palm
Take
Beach
it
in there.
easy.
Just letting y'all know where the influence is coming from. I'm not going to pretend not to be biased. I am biased. Okay.
Okay.
But that's what makes
Yes.
this whole thing great. Because
Yeah.
we all have opinions, we all got things and what we bring to the table. So looking forward to getting to it. And talking about all things for right now, we're going to be talking about all things NBA playoffs. So just
That's
wanted to
right.
get that brief intro. All right.
That's a
Get that
good
out the
intro.
way.
That's a good intro. I'm gonna address, that comment in a second, but good intro, bro. Now, to his point, right? We talking about NBA right now. There'll be times we're gonna talk NFL, right? We probably gonna stay on those two sports because we're from South Florida. That's all we really did down
That's
there,
what
all
we did.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So it is what it is. Now, listen, I got this special contract, okay? And I think we need to address the elephant in the room, okay? I got a special contract that causes it's a clause that I don't deal with losing
Mm,
teams. Okay. Now, if the
okay.
team loses their identity and their focus, I can't roll with them. I can't be caught up with them. Right. That's just the contract I signed. Okay, as a fan. And
Mm,
there's very few out here that
mm.
has the audacity, the tenaciousness to sign a contract like that. I was the one to do it. All right. So, hey, I'm unapologetic about it. All right. Now, LeBron James, he's home.
Mm,
Hey, that's him. You know
mm,
what I mean? All
man.
I know is Steph Curry is still in the
Ah, Chef
I know.
Steph is your boy,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's my point.
Okay.
Since college. You know what I mean? So we'll get into that. All right, we're
Listen,
gonna get into that.
all you Cleet the Geek LeBron fans and how he used to talk up LeBron, yeah, you already see this man done tuck tailed and run. He left your boy hanging,
Listen,
okay? You
man.
just let him
LeBron
go,
is
just that
85
quick,
years old, man. I gotta
okay?
move on. I got to move on. No, I'm just
Man,
playing. It
okay.
could change. Contracts change. All right. But
Contracts
as of
change.
now, listen, if you're losing, if you're not first, you're last.
If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. So look, why don't we start at the Lakers
Wow, you just
Timberwolves series?
okay. You're gonna jump.
Just
Okay, all right.
I just
Okay.
say it makes it's topical right now at the
Okay, you're
moment.
right. You're right. Okay. So let's talk about the series. So I'm gonna jump now. We got notes here. You might see Wayne looking at his notes. I got notes as well. So we're gonna jump down and we're gonna talk about that series. Now, it was it was you know, I don't want to bring this guy up because some stuff going on in the news,
Mm.
but I'm just gonna say it wasn't Lakers at five. All right. It ended up being
Ah, man.
woo,
Oh, man.
woo,
Yeah,
woo,
I know
right?
way too much about Unc at this moment.
Yeah, and we
But
love Unc. We love Unc,
yeah,
man.
man,
Just,
man.
I listen, he got stuff going on. Um, we don't want to get canceled, so we're just gonna
No.
shift and we're
Okay.
just gonna kind of reference that. All right, so it ended up being the opposite. It was
Mm,
Timberwolves at five. All right. Now, what am we saying by that, right? So Lakers, Timberwolves, they win 5 games. Timberwolves won 4-1. So they beat
mm.
them in 5 games. And it was go ahead, Doug. What you wanted to jump in here? Let me let you jump into it.
Yeah, it was a they were outmatched from the jump, right? And I mean, in this modern NBA, I'm not a huge fan of the modern NBA. Growing up in the 80s and the 90s and really seeing the toughness that was brought there, I'm not necessarily going to be the one to subscribe to LeBron wouldn't be able to survive in the previous regime,
Yeah.
but I know he get beat up a whole lot, right? Like it wouldn't be as
Mhm.
easy as it is right now. A lot of players foul hunt right now, and it's like just trying to
Yeah.
get to line as opposed to trying to score. And I
Mhm.
felt like this series kind of really exemplified like size disparity and also like defense, which I loved because it reminded me of the 90s basketball, 90s, 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s basketball eras.
Yeah.
So, you know, Luca, as great of a player as he is, and when the midseason trade happened, everyone was like, man, this is obviously Nico. What the heck are you doing? I still think, somebody had something on Nico. Now, he knew Luca didn't play no D. He knew Luca
Yeah.
didn't show up in shape, but you can only get one first round pick and Anthony Davis for Luca. That's not a good trade. Not when Rudy Gobert went for what, 4 or 5 first round picks.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll pass that, right? So we're here. He's there. Luca is in LA, not playing any defense. They attacked Luca as much as
It
they
was
could.
exhausting, man. Like, dude, and you know who found that formula? It was the Celtics last
Right,
year in the finals,
right in the
So
finals.
they
Yeah,
gave the blueprint on how to this guy's, offensively, he just dazzles you. So you just get distracted by how good he is, how much he can affect the game on the offensive side. But Boston Celtics was like, okay, we're just gonna go at him every single play. And if
that's
you
it.
and if you show up out of shape, to your point, then that's half the battle, right? You get him winded, he can't affect the offense, and then you're getting easy blow-bys on the defense. So it was exhausting to watch. It was an exhausting series. And I'll second that. LeBron James at age 40. It's like,
Yeah, yeah, it's tough.
now,
Tough.
now I will say he did show more defensive prowess in the
Mm-hmm.
series because he
Mm-hmm.
had to bring that, but you had to know at age 40 he wasn't going to go to length playing defense like that. Like
Right,
he has
right.
been, you know what I mean? He's been surviving on, playing defense here and there, letting people blow by, not going for rebound. So, it's one of those things where you can't have two, weak spots in your defense, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you add the fact that the Lakers were the lineup. It just was a bad matchup, right? They already they had started this whole trade with Mark Williams. That
Mm-hmm.
happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they had to rescind that, and we still don't really know what happened. I think we're gonna find out more as the summer comes up. But they had to rescind that trade because there's something in dude's health
Medical. Yeah.
chart, his medical
Yeah.
chart, that showed that he wasn't there. But that
Mm-hmm.
hurt them. And I think at that point, Brian Windhorst, Wendy, on ESPN, he brought up a good point. He was like, at that point, they had punted this season, right? They were like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, we're going to play the long game. While we'll try to go as far as we can, we ain't going to try to, we know we can't really win. And I think what happened, like people like myself who were fans throughout the season, you're like, oh man, like you started getting kind of what's the word? You got dazzled, right? That's what Luca does. Luca
Mm-hmm.
magic,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
started to buy into the hype. Like they went on this run. You start seeing the continuity with the offense. You starting to see the defense. Like they were making up for the size they didn't have. So you're like, oh wait, they actually could do something. But I think what happens up in the playoffs, it gets the regression of the mean, right? You just
Yeah.
get back to the,
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's what I really saw in that series. It was just terrible matchup. You talking about Minnesota, and we've talked about this in the sidebar. Like Minnesota has everything from top to
Everything you
bottom.
need. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. They
and
got
this,
size, speed, athleticism, quickness. They
yeah.
play offense. They can score. I mean, Rudy Gobert scoring 27 points and having 24 rebounds in the game lets you know that they can do just about anything they want. Anthony Edwards in that final game only had like what 15 points or something like that.
Yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
these guys can win in multiple ways. You thought, or at least the some of the consensus was they traded Cat and they were going to lose, but this guy Julius Randle comes in, and I think after he's come back in games that they played in like the what 20 or so games that they played, they're like 18-2 or something, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, they're a problem. Ant is a problem. Ant
Yes.
is a headhunter who, if you look at, take it back to last year, on Ant's wall, his metaphorical like headhunting
Right.
wall, he's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
Jokic on the
Yeah.
wall. This
Yeah.
year he's got
No, no, keep going. Keep going. Who else he got on there?
Jokic from last year. He
Durant.
had Durant, yeah, his idol, right, on the wall. This year he's got LeBron and Luca on the
Yeah.
wall, and who's up next in the
You can
crosshairs?
add Book to that too. You can add Booker because Booker, went
Okay,
to the
yeah,
finals,
that's another conversation. I don't know that we're putting this guy in the right category. We're expecting superstardom from him,
Man.
but he's just not.
You
He's
know, what he is to me, I think he's like a Drew Holiday level player where he's
okay,
like good at
okay,
one thing. Like his thing is scoring, where Drew Holiday is defense,
yeah,
so
yeah,
he can be a fourth on a team and really affect the team. A
but he's
third,
not an
third
anchor,
maybe.
right?
Yeah, he's not an anchor. I don't know why
Yeah,
Suns want
yeah,
to make him an anchor, but
yeah.
let's digress so we can keep
It's
going.
it was
But
the 81 point game that he had however many years ago. That's probably like, oh yeah, this guy's. It's
nah,
like
70.
he's
It was 70 points.
70.
Only,
Okay,
only,
so
only Kobe with the
only
81.
Kobe did
So
81. Okay.
yeah,
But it was close. Like he had a lot of points.
yeah,
So I was
yeah.
thinking, but so with the Lakers in that series, it just was a bad matchup from jump. And the Lakers
Yeah.
without size, like you said, when the trade got rescinded, they didn't have a starting center. JJ Redick being a rookie coach, I'm a big JJ Redick fan.
And he did a good job. He did a
Yeah,
good
he
job.
did he did a good job. I think in the playoffs it got to him a little bit. Just not playing
Yeah.
Jackson Hayes in that game was like, all right,
That
bro. They got
it
size,
was
and
it
if Rudy's
sounded
going off,
personal. It was almost
yeah,
personal,
yeah,
bro. Like, what
yeah.
was that about? Yeah. So I agree, man. And that took them out. I think his coaching caught up to him,
Mhm.
in that series. So and give credit to the coach for the Timberwolves. Like he
Fink.
ran, yeah, what is his name?
I just know his nickname. Is it Fink, right?
Finch. Yeah.
Finch. David, not
Yeah.
David Fincher. Chris Fincher. Finch.
I'm gonna
Sorry, I
look it
said
up.
Fink.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, that coach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, he did a good job of capitalizing on the faults, excuse me, not the defaults, but the faults of the Lakers. So, man, that series is
Chris
over,
Finch.
man.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Finch.
gone.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
LeBron is home, he in Cancun. And listen, man, that's
Enjoying his
one
time.
thing. Let me tell you why I got my contract. Let me go back to my
Here we
contract.
go.
I
Here we
got
go.
my contract because these players, bro, I'm telling you, like, it's not even 20 minutes after they walk off the court. They got
They're done.
plans. They getting on
They're having fun.
planes.
They're
And guess who?
billionaires.
Right, right. And guess who going to work the next day frustrated? Oh, like, oh, my team. So I said I would
Yeah,
never
yeah,
do that
yeah,
again. Now, this is
yeah.
an interesting story. Wayne will remember this. Okay. This was back when the Warriors were playing the Cavs.
Mm.
And the Warriors won. I want to say they won the finals. This was probably 25th. No, this couldn't have been that long ago. So it's 2017. And I came to work. Yeah, this is 2017. I came to work. And when I walked into the building, there were Kevin Durant images on every room.
Yeah,
Yeah, you remember
yeah, I
that?
remember. Yeah, yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do.
A
I do. Yeah.
co-worker of ours who was from the Bay Area was trolling me. Okay. He printed out Kevin Durant with they had just beat the Cavs.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
he printed out all over the workplace. And everywhere I went, it was in a bathroom, it was on my desk, every other people's desk, in the meeting rooms. And I was so distraught. And that was the moment. That was the moment I signed my
That
contract.
was the moment. Okay.
Yes. Because
All
I was
right.
like, I will not feel this
Fair.
way while LeBron is over on vacation with his family and I'm over here stressed out at work dealing with this troller. Okay. So you know who you are, bro. You did this to me. Thank you for the
So
contract.
Then Cleton signs his contract, and the
Haven't lost
contract then
since.
go he hasn't lost since, and the current contract apparently is with our good fellow Chef Steph, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
it was he was very close to going home
Yeah, good. Oh, I
yesterday.
like it. Okay, good transition.
You
I
know,
like
just
it.
trying, you know. Um,
Hey, I like
the
it.
the honestly, I'll talking about the Rockets, man. They are a team that surprised me all season.
Yeah,
The Rockets were, after like the whole James Harden fiasco, and they were at the bottom, but they made some really really good young picks.
yeah, yeah,
Fred VanVleet is such an underrated player. I
yeah.
know Kawhi gets a lot of the stardom from the 2019 Raptors championship, but Fred Van Vliet was jaying like crazy, and he was
Clutch,
doing it
man.
in this series too.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for the Rockets, he was the only person that could shoot.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well,
And
give some credit to the Smith Jr. kid, but
yeah,
I think his defense, I think he was a problem defensively because they wanted to play that tough defense, so
yep,
they couldn't
yep.
keep him in the game as often. But he was a solid scorer. He had big shots when they needed it. The Easton kid, until he showed his age, he
You're
was
right. He was young.
another. So
Young.
they were showing up. But to your point, the young fellas, right? It's
Yeah.
like you have
Yeah.
one vet and Dylan Brooks, who is a streaky shooter by
Yep.
nature.
Yep.
So that was tough, but continue.
Yeah, so the Rockets and Ime Udoka and Cleet and I have these conversations all the time. Like to build a championship roster, I have like a clear vision on what it takes. You need to have first of all, you need to have a good roster that's like kind of top to bottom, at least 8 deep. That's what you really, really want
Right,
because in your rotations in the playoffs, they're gonna shorten and it's my best seven, my best eight versus yours, right?
right,
You
right.
got to have a good coach who knows how to adjust. You can't be out there doing the
Adjustments.
same thing over and over again. And Ime Udoka showed his prowess, with
Yeah.
going to a big lineup in like game three or game four, realizing that the Warriors, they're tiny. They really don't have much size.
Size.
And
Yeah.
that Şengün and Steven Adams lineup started to really beat them up.
They
Amen
just
Thompson.
they
And then
just weighed on them, man. They weighed on them, and then they controlled the offensive boards, which was what
yep,
really
yep.
changed the series. I mean, even though because you look at it, Golden State was up 3-1. It was like
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
just a
yeah.
wrap. But adjustments to your point. Continue, my bad. I'm
Right. No,
just
you good.
adding
You
some
good.
commentary.
No, no, no. So I think he was really good in the series. Amen Thompson was fantastic. Unfortunately, just like his brother, gone home in the first round. And they're going to
Mm,
be special, kids, just crazy athleticism. But they got to
man,
learn how to shoot,
specimens.
man. They got to learn
Yeah,
how to shoot. And in today's NBA, the scoring is so prolific. So to not have a shot, you just really expose yourself. And unfortunately, in Game 7, that's where they got exposed. You got
yeah.
on one side, other side, Buddy Hield going off. Haven't seen
Being the
that Buddy
Klay Thompson.
Hield.
He being the Klay
Exactly,
Thompson that they
exactly.
needed. Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
role that he was traded for, and he hasn't really shown up a lot like that. But when it mattered the most, he did.
yeah.
And when Steph did not have a good first, what, 3 quarters or so, he still ended up being Steph. And
Steph, yeah.
you know, that's what
Steffordness.
that exactly. That's what happens when you close. He showed you at the Olympics. I'm still the closer, and
Yeah,
he's showing us now. But like hats off to the Rockets, man. That was a pretty amazing series, especially going down 3-1. No one really expected them to do much of anything after that. And
great
they had a
coaching, man.
chance. Great, yeah, fantastic coaching. Fantastic coaching. You just need some shooters, man. You just
Yeah,
need some
yeah.
shooters.
Shout
So,
out to MA, man. I mean, and to your point, we've assessed this over the years. Like you gotta have a coach that makes adjustments because that's what the players are all about. If a if
yep,
a
yep.
if a team finds something, they're going to exploit it, and they're just going to keep doing it. And if you don't find a way to adjust and then make them have to adjust, then you literally lose the series. It's just that simple. And that's what we saw in the Lakers series. I will say. Yeah, man, Jalen Green, go ahead, pack your bags, cause
Yeah, bro. You're out of there. You're
you're out
gone,
of
bro.
there, buddy.
It's all
They're
right,
gonna
man.
you were supposed to be that guy. You scored
Yeah,
38 in
yeah,
game two, was it? I
yeah,
think game
yeah,
two.
yeah. And
And
then had less than 10 the rest of the series, or like
yeah,
something low them out, man. Like,
and
come
this is
on.
a lesson to people, man. When you have your
Yeah,
moment, you gotta be willing to strike. You gotta put it out there. And I think he played outside of himself in game two, and he never was able to find that, right? So
yeah,
this is gonna be
yeah,
a learning lesson in his career. But man, we had this thing back in the day. This happened on Orlando when they lost in 2010. And I don't even remember the guy's name, but it's the reason I don't remember his name because he got sent to the darkest, deepest corner of the NBA.
Who are you
And
talking about?
remember he missed the layup at the
Courtney
top.
Lee. Oh
Courtney Lee.
man, Courtney Lee could have put Orlando on the map against the
You
Lakers, and then
gotta take your
yeah,
moment,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Courtney Lee is an example. So I'm hoping that don't happen to you, Jalen Green, but it's a possibility, dude, because that was your moment and you didn't step up. That they, you had a Min Thompson, just your Swiss Army knife, like doing
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
just
yeah.
super athletic, just an
Talented man.
amazing talent. You had Smith guy coming in, giving you some scoring from the bench. You had the vet out there, the two vets, right? Dylan
Mm-hmm.
and Van Vliet. You
Mm-hmm.
had the big old enforcer, rebounder, and
Steven
you had the
Adams.
Shangoon, another one that kind of showed his youth.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
when they needed a bucket, he couldn't get a bucket over the smaller Draymond Green, and it's because he couldn't control himself. It's
Mm-hmm.
like when he got on a block, you noticed it, right? It's like he couldn't move. He couldn't move anybody out, even if it was Pajimski on him. It's like he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't
Mm-hmm.
move him. And it's like, come on, you playing too small to be that big. So
Yeah, and the Cleet knows this. Like, this is my gripe with European basketball players. A lot of times that they play because they have stretched the big. They made the stretch four and the stretch fives, like the shooting guards, the Dirk Nowitzkis, Nikola Jokic. Like, very rarely do we see people go in and play big boy basketball anymore. Now,
yeah.
Rudy Gobert is kind of an exception to that, but then you got Wemby from the same country, and it's like, dude, you're a shooter, right? You're a
And
stick,
let's
and
keep it
you're a
a
shooter.
buck. Like,
You know,
Rudy Gobert don't play big. Like he
he
has
well, he did
trouble.
against
He
the
has
Lakers.
Man, it was
Just
putbacks and
saying.
alleys and
But
stuff,
that's
but he
that's how
did
you
it.
play big. That's how you play
Yeah,
big.
yeah,
You get
yeah,
in there, you bang, you get the rebound to make everybody else feel small.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So they definitely Şengün needs to develop that. I did learn that he has led the playoffs in total rebounds, which means like, hey man, you are around there, but then just like the modern NBA, unfortunately, you're a foul hunter. You flopping your
yeah,
arms
yeah.
and Draymond Green, even though he's what 35, 34 years old, still
35,
a
yep.
really physical defender who is solid, man. He's gonna play hard. So you can't just be hunting for the fouls against a guy like that. You got to go at him,
And
take
that's a
away his
good point you
confidence.
bring up. Like, um, that I think that's the adjustment the young guys have to make, whether they're European or not.
Hmm.
Because to your point, you're like the Thompson twins, they need to develop a shot. I think they come into from college, nowadays they do one year and they're out, one and done, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they're used to shooting where they're getting way more open shots with the
Yep.
competition they're
Yep.
playing against. But you think about the speed and the physicality, even in today's NBA. We ain't even talking about in the early 2000s, 90s, 80s. But in today's NBA, like, the speed of game, I think that literally takes these guys sometimes years to adjust, right? It
Yeah.
takes them some
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
adjust for that. So I think you'll always see like, man, the potential in these guys, but it takes a few years to say, okay, here's how I get my shot on a run. Here's how I hit catch and shoot shots. Here's my spot. I found out this, off of, this side of the court, the hot spots, right?
Hmm.
We play
Hmm.
NBA
Hmm.
2K, you know how that go.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think they discovered their hot spots and then it takes a few years for that. But yeah, man, really good
That'd be
series
good.
though. It went down to game seven.
Yep.
Want to make sure I put out there. So Warriors won in game seven. And Steph Curry has beaten them 5 times now in game seven. When when they asked him, they was like, what do you think people are going to say about you in Houston? He's like, I'm a winner. That's
That's
right.
it,
He had the
man. That's
shades on. Steph is effortless. That's my guy,
yeah.
man. LeBron, who?
Oh, okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
I'll
And
just playing. LeBron, my boy, man. We went,
yeah,
we
yeah.
class of '03. We
Hmm.
always gonna have that
Hmm.
connection, all right?
Hmm.
But listen,
Time to move on to some other things, maybe.
listen, man, it's
You
time
know.
to transition at some point, right? So, all right, so let's keep it moving. We're staying in the West. All right. This other series I think is gonna be a good one to talk about. So let's talk about the one that was not as entertaining.
Competitive. Competitive.
Thank you. That's a better word. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies. Right.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
That was a whomping sweep, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
OKC just walked in. First of all, game one, they won by how was it? How much was it? 51 points?
Something like that, 50 plus. Yeah, I mean, so let me just get
Oh
this
my
out here
God.
while we're in this NBA playoffs. OKC is my pick to win the championship over Boston, and
Wow.
it's gonna be tough for them to do that. But that team is just freaking stacked. They've had
Yeah.
a big three, and they got like Shaq says the others who contribute, and they are bought into their coaching philosophy. I think that SGA will win MVP this year, and I think that. I actually heard a stat today that the MVP has not won the championship since Steph Curry in 2015, I believe. So, um, but what's
Yeah.
going to what's going
Wow.
to happen, I think, with this team is that they are well coached. I think that they have a few veterans. Typically, I like to see more veterans. I want to be able to see a veteran on the squad that has won a championship. I don't think that they have that right now.
They have
Um,
Crusoe. He
Caruso won.
won in
Oh, that's right. He
20
won in 2020.
2020.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So good head coach. You got a great player in SGA who could literally take over games. You have a bunch of role players, both Jalen Williams, and they play two-way basketball. I'm a super fan of two-way basketball. I know the Boston Celtics play two-way basketball, but I will never root for Boston in my life. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
OKC, I think, and they showed it when they played Memphis. Memphis, when Ja was healthy, they were dogging them. It's like, and Ja was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I would have figured them out. No, you didn't. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no, you
listen,
didn't, bro.
man.
Like you
Sidebar on
didn't.
job, man. It's like I want to like that kid, man, because he has the Allen Iverson gene,
Mm,
but his arrogance, he has Allen Iverson arrogance in after a year, because what Allen played like 12 years or something like that. I don't know, but
yeah.
let's just say whenever he got in his prime, he
hmm
got Allen Iverson prime type of arrogance and confidence. And dude, you've been in the league what 4 or 5 years? Like,
Haven't done
bro.
nothing.
You haven't done
Haven't
anything.
done anything.
Like, but
Never
you
been
have
to a
this,
finals.
yeah. So it's like, come on, look, young fella, you got to win something first before you walk around like you the man, you know? So anyway,
You know,
that,
the confidence, arrogance conversation is always brought up, but I think that when you start to talk so much and you haven't done enough, like
yeah,
it's fun at first. It's like, oh man, you bring it because you're putting Memphis on the map. You know, you're really helping them out. But y'all haven't even been to a Western Conference Finals at this point, and you saying stuff in the post game conference like we figured them out. No, this is the number one seed in the Western Conference, which most people regard as the best conference. 2 years in a row, they're number one seed. Like that's not a fluke.
yeah,
Okay, this
yeah,
team
yeah.
is good.
Listen, I've
And
had to give respect to them. Like I don't have them as my pick out, coming out the West, and we'll talk about that in a second. But they are respectable, man. I got, normally we have this rule, Dub and I, where we say, listen, when you got a team full of young people, they ain't never been there before, you can't really bank on it. But,
can't trust them.
and then of course, coach is doing well. But he's done well in the in the season, right? So
Yep.
he hasn't won anything yet. So you have all of that going against him, and from the way that we rate it, right? So we're gonna have to see, but they're listen, I would take them. There's two teams I would take them to knock out Boston. And it's them and it's the Timberwolves. I'm just gonna show my hand. It's the Timberwolves. I got Timberwolves. From what I saw in this series with the Lakers,
hmm
if my Warriors can't figure it out, because they're gonna have to figure out the size issue getting as they
hmm
go deeper into the playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna be able to make ground with that. They got a young guy in post, and we'll talk about. Well, we've already talked about them. So I just mentioned this quick. They got a young talent in post. He's a big that can shoot. He can stretch the floor, but he's young. It's a little
Super
too early
young.
for to
Yeah.
be putting him in those situations. So, and I know Kerr, he's not going to play him a ton of minutes.
hmm
So
hmm
he's going to go with people he trusts. So I would say, I don't know about the Warriors. I think Tim Wolves might be the one that come out of the West, but that's my opinion. We'll talk more about that. And just Wayne, so you know, G Dub, I know we had stuff on the docket. So y'all, we got a docket. We got all the stuff we want to talk about. We know we were long-winded. So we ain't have
hmm
y'all here for 3 hours. We're just gonna finish. We're gonna go through the recap of each of the thing, and then we'll just give y'all quick predictions at the end, and then we out of here. All right. So y'all, we don't got y'all here for another 2 hours because we'll keep going if y'all let us. Well, we want to ease into it. All right. We want to ease into it. Okay.
It's gonna be good though. So
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So anything else with OKC Grizzly that you want to before we get out of there and move to the
yeah, our
next
section
series?
can be as brief as this series. We can just move. We can move on.
Ooh,
So
okay. All right. Nuggets and Clippers.
yeah,
Man, what a series from game one. All right. Like I mean, it's just so many highlights from that. I think, from it was, even though I think he isn't a winner per se, I kind of like the guy, Russell Westbrook. I like him. I just like his tenacity and how he plays on the court, the fervor and the hunger. Now, he don't really he's known to mess up. All right.
yeah.
Wayne's gonna get into that. I know it. I already can hear him
Hmm.
it bubbling in his brain. So this dude, this dude is a accident waiting to happen, as Stephen A says for the Cowboys. So I get that. But for him, any team that trades him, he's like he wants to murder the whole crew, right?
Yeah,
So to
yeah, yeah.
see him get them back and make some really good plays, and he's arguably in that game 7. So just to preface this series this is another series that went to game 7, and the Nuggets end up winning. Um, and you can argue that he probably was one of the best players in that game 7. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
from
yeah.
his impact, his timely steals. Now the game got blown off, off
Hmm.
by the third quarter. It was just no game anymore. But I mean, it started from his defense, and then, his pushing the pace of the ball.
Hmm.
So, it was a really good series. Jokic, Joker, he just did what Joker does, just model citizen of consistency, just
What are you
big.
gonna do with that guy?
What can you do with that guy? And to the point we were talking about Shangun, he doesn't know how to use his size like Jokic is. They're arguably the
Hmm.
same size.
Hmm.
But Jokic knows how to use his size effectively. So he controlled it. But the two biggest X factors in this series, of course, was Kawhi Leonard. We just expect him to get injured at some point, and he literally lasted through the series without getting injured. But there was a sighting of Jamal Murray. He came back.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah, yeah,
where did this
yeah.
guy go? We saw him in a bubble. We saw him when they won, what, 2 years ago?
Hmm.
And then he
Hmm.
disappears. He's just like, I know somebody's in that body running around. I don't know who that person is. And then he just decides he's like, oh, yeah, I can play basketball. Man, and man, he took over. That had to be game 5?
5, I
Because,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
because Clippers won. Wait, no, 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 no. The Clippers win
Clippers
yeah,
won
yeah.
game
Game
one,
6.
Nuggets
They had
won
to win.
game two,
Yeah.
and then Clippers won no, Nuggets won game three. Um and
I'm gonna look it
then
up.
I think Clippers tied, and then Nuggets went up 3-2. No, 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 I got it backwards. Yeah, Clippers went up 3-2. Then oh no, 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 or did Nuggets?
I'm about to pull
Yeah,
it
I
up
can't
real quick.
remember. I can't remember.
But it's important because I know that you had what do they call it? The something dunk, but you had the putback dunk from your boy
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon, right? So okay, so Nuggets won game 1, right?
Nuggets won game one. I thought
Yeah,
Clippers won game one.
112,
What?
112-10 overtime.
Oh, okay, my bad. I remember
Yeah.
that was the game that Kawhi had all those points. So did he?
Yeah, but they end up winning at the last second.
Oh,
I can't
okay, okay,
remember.
okay, okay,
So it was
okay,
an overtime, right? Then Clippers
okay,
won game 2 and 3.
okay,
And
okay.
and that's when yeah, so they won game 2 by 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
They blew them out in game 3. So now the
Yep,
series
yep.
was right.
2-1
So
Clippers.
yeah, right. And then so we go back. So the Nuggets had the home event. So they split the series because in game 4,
So it's
Nuggets
2-2.
win. Yeah. So
Yep.
Clippers win their first game at home in game 3. The game 4, Nuggets come back and they win by 3 points, 101 to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
99. Okay.
Was that the putback when Nugget when if they won
It
by
would have had to
two,
be. It had to be, yeah,
yeah,
that had to be
yeah,
the
okay.
putback. So it was
Yep.
game 4.
Game four. Yeah.
Mm. And then they came. Okay, so Jamal Murray was game five. Yeah, Jamal Murray was
Yeah.
game five. So he just like erupted. It was like
Yeah.
that's when he came back. And literally took over that game. They won 113 to 103. And then Clippers, they had a win in game six, which would had have been, so let me see, boom, they split. So then they went back to Nuggets, and then so they
Mm-hmm.
went
Mm-hmm.
home game, and then Nuggets again. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Jamal Murray, I think they already have the stat where he's the like his point differential in the playoffs is the best in the NBA history, right? Like he averages like, 19, 20 points in the regular season, and in playoff he averages like 26, 27 points. So he just becomes,
He's like
we
playoff
have
Murray. Talking about
right,
playoff
exactly.
Jimmy, playoff
Right.
Murray.
He
Yeah,
is the definition of that. From the bubble, when he kind of made his like opening act and was like, "Hey y'all, I'm here." Consistently in the playoffs, he just does some unbelievable things. And once
yeah.
he wakes up in a series, he does not go back to sleep. Like we've had conversations in the past about Anthony Davis having an up game and a down game when he played for the Lakers. Like Murray might have a few down games, but once he has that up game, he is like, wow, man, that man gave you a championship. He gave the Lakers a championship. He is
Trash can.
vomiting on this man. Um, but once Murray wakes up, he wakes up.
Yeah.
And Joker's always awake. But those two in their two-man game, it's very, very difficult. And then even Michael Porter Jr. playing hurt, still
And
hit some timely
he hit
threes,
some big
man. Like,
shots, especially in that game
um,
seven. He did. He hit some big shots, man. And that's what you need. You need the others. That's how Shaq
Shaq.
always say, "Hey,
Yeah,
the others, we need to have the others." And
yeah.
that's so important. You need the others because that's the only way like you get the, it's coaching. I think what makes a championship team. I'll just put this out here. It's coaching, the adjustment in coaching, and the others stepping up in big moments. I think the superstars are going to be your
Your
workhorses. They're
superstars.
going to get you
Yeah.
a lot of that's what you expect, right? The only
Hmm.
reason they're
Hmm.
going that far is because of superstars. So they're going to
Hmm.
give you their default. They're going to give you assists if you need those. They're going to give you big shots. But it's like, but what are the others doing? Are they making timely rebounds, blocks, shots,
Hmm. Hmm.
defensive
Hmm.
stops, right? If they're doing those small things, and then the coach is saying, okay, let me run a big lineup to throw off their small lineup. And then vice versa. Let me run a small lineup to throw up the big lineup. Let me just run into a zone, that might throw
Yeah.
them off. Sorry, glasses. All right, sorry guys. My glasses talking is just doing its own thing. Ignore those guys. Well, these guys. But you know what I mean? So I think those are the ingredients for
Yeah.
a championship team. I want to talk about Kawhi really quick before we move on. I think, so I've been telling this theory to Doug for years. I really believe back in San Antonio when Pachulia, I think is how you say it,
Zaza Pachulia. Pachulia. Yeah,
Pachulia,
you're right.
Pachulia, yeah. He when he injured, he stepped into the landing space of Kawhi Leonard. Leonard falls and injures that leg. I really believe he had a career-ending injury then. And
Yeah.
because of the medical technology and because of his medical treatment and his regimen, they've been able to extend his career, but he really has not been able to ever get back to the trajectory he was on. So imagine, him being an early
Well,
version
remember,
of the Thompson twins.
but he won Toronto a championship after that.
But what did they
All
have
right.
to do?
What do you mean?
What did they have to do to get to that championship?
Oh, load management. Right, 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 right. Yeah,
So
but
my point.
still,
So
oh,
so I'm
got you. So
saying,
you're saying his cyborg body was no longer a cyborg body, and they had to like most NBA players are doing right now. They're trying to preserve the longevity of their career. So the season they don't go hard because they're trying to be here for longer.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
so so it's like a rare sighting to see him play this healthy this long because it's like that he's been dealing with that injury since then. Like he's not
Yeah,
had a healthy season since his days in Spurs. So I
yeah.
just think, it was fascinating to see him just so spry. It's like, where did this come from? So it's like you could tell he had been working hard to really go hard into the playoffs because they felt like he had a team, which going into the playoffs, they were rolling. When you're an NBA team, you want to leave the season rolling into the playoffs. And you want to be able to take that momentum into the playoffs and hopefully have that carry you all the way to the finals. Um, but the
Nobody,
matchup,
nobody believes.
Oh, here
in
we
the
go.
Clippers because they have James Harden. Okay.
Ooh,
James Harden is not a winner. All respect to James Harden, prolific offensive player, does a lot of numbers. Bro, he's not a winner. He has not been a winner anywhere that he has gone. Got MVPs, zero championships. This goes far back like so far. And then when it comes in the clutch moments, the guy does not show up in the playoffs consistently. Like it's not even that he doesn't show up. It's not like he's going 7 for 29. He just had a bad shooting game. No, he's not shooting the ball. He's like he's gets scared
and he
of the moment.
disappears in
Disappears. Like,
games. Yeah, game seven. So I
where
just
are
look up the
you?
stat. He lost four game sevens.
Yeah, bro. Like you that can't be you and you in the same breath. And anyone who says this, like don't literally fight me because I'm not fighting like that. But you want to fight me? Dwayne Wade is not in the same conversation. James Harden cannot breathe the same air that Dwayne Wade does. Like not even close. The number three shooting guard of all time is Dwayne Wade, and it's not even
Yeah.
Harden should not even be in close into that conversation. Like and every time people bring up Harden's prolific, look at him roll into the playoffs. Harden's gonna do something. Absolutely not. You know who carried that team? His name is Kawhi Leonard. Okay,
Mm,
he carries that team. And then also
yeah.
shout out to Zubac. If they didn't have Zubac, this series would have been over in 4 games. But no, Zubac out here handling business against Joker, which is very very difficult to do night in and night out. They took him to 7 game. Powell did a great job playing. Obviously, we know Ty Lue and what he can do.
Yeah.
But like when one of your superstar players is James Harden, bro, wrap that up. Wrap it up, bro. Let
It
that go.
ain't
You know what
you
I
ain't
mean?
going far,
Like,
man. And I don't know why they thought they could do it. And that's another reason why Russell Westbrook was so angry because it's basically they chose Harden over him. So he's like, okay,
right.
I'm gonna show y'all that I was the better decision. So I'm gonna stick it to you every time I get a
And
chance.
let's be clear, he wasn't. He wasn't the better decision. And look, again, all respect to Westbrook. I got this phrase I tell Cleet: Westbrook's gonna Westbrook. Okay, he is going, and this comes back to the 2012 series when the Heat played the OKC Thunder when the OKC Thunder was the young Thundercats back in the day,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
they were
yeah.
Kevin Durant was young, and James Harden was
Westbrook,
young, and
all
Westbrook
these,
was young,
yeah,
and they were
yeah,
they were a great team. Kendrick Perkins out there. But the problem was that Westbrook thought he was the guy on that team. And during
yeah,
that series, consistently, when the ball should have been in Kevin Durant's hands, Westbrook would try to take it and he would mess up. And it was since that series and that time that I'm like, Russell sometimes gets confused and thinking that I'm the guy. And they
even
made him
over
the
there,
guy.
yeah, yeah, even over there with the Nuggets. I mean, he still has
Yeah,
moments where
yeah.
you like, bro, if you don't pass the ball to Jokic, or Murray, man, stop. What are you doing? You know,
Like
just so
let
crazy, man.
know your role, but I think as the series went on, he started doing better at like knowing, understanding his role, and really doing that role well. Like really being one of the best rebounding guards that the league has ever seen. Being
Yeah,
around the ball, being able to distribute the ball, and then like he talked about, his pace is still at this age faster than most of people going up and down the court with the basketball. So
yeah,
give them credit for that. Give Nuggets the credit for the win. They had to really tough that out. They had a lot of injuries. I often, tell Cleat, like, honestly, the championship team is often the healthiest team. It's not even the
that's
one with the
right.
best players. It's like, who is going to remain healthy? Because once you lose
Hmm.
that one player, I think the Warriors lucked out that Houston couldn't shoot because Steph had a thumb injury and he wasn't shooting well.
Yeah,
If that was
he's still
the
dealing with it too. He's still dealing with it.
right, which is again, so going into that series, that's going to be even more problematic. You're dealing with size disadvantage, and Steph can't be his all otherworldly stuff because he's dealing with an injury. It's going to be tough for them to move on. But ultimately, like this Clippers team was is flawed because their belief is in a player who it shouldn't be in. Um,
Yeah, he couldn't
so
take
like
him. He can't take him nowhere, man. He can't take somewhere nowhere you haven't been. That's
can't
essentially
you
what
can't
happened.
where is the championship DNA? And also I'm gonna give respect to Batum. I've been a Batum fan from back
Yeah.
in the day when Batum used to play for Portland because I used to play with Portland Trail Blazers on the game. Rudy Fernandez, Brandon Roy, Nicholas Batum, they were all in my lineup, man. So Batum played a great series as well, but they just
But he
didn't
didn't
have
give a
enough,
lot of
man.
run though. They didn't give him a lot of run. He's a vet. Like I would have gave him more run, but and let's even listen, this is a whole nother story, but you notice the dude didn't even touch the court. Ben
Oh,
Simmons in
hold
there.
on, brother.
Oh
Let's not.
my
Yeah,
God. But
he's not
just
worth my breath, man. He's
listen.
not
Oh
worth my breath.
man. So look, let's do
Yeah.
this. Let's do this, right? So we got a lot. We got the whole Easter covered. We're going to just split that into another video, all right? So we'll drop that video right after this one, and we'll cover that whole Eastern Conference. That way we can give them all the attention they need, right? So before we get out of here today, Dub, let's go ahead and hit the people with our predictions for round two. You already let the cat out of the bag, and I kind of did too for who we think coming out of the West. But let's still play it step by
Four
step, and let's
game. Yeah.
see, yeah, let's see what we got in game in round two. So um,
All right. So the
we got the
games
round
for
two.
round.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, you got
Games
it.
for
Go ahead.
round two. We got in Western Conference. We got the Warriors and Timberwolves and Thunder and Nuggets.
Yeah.
Um, my prediction. I'm gonna go with Warriors and Timberwolves first. I got the Timberwolves in six.
Mm,
A couple things here. I give and six is very very gracious to give them because they have the greatest shooter that God ever created. And also Draymond Green with that championship DNA. Them boys got four rings. They have been here before. As much as I dislike him because of how he treated my team, Jimmy Butler is still a fantastic playoff player. And he is a
mm,
leader when he is engaged in the game of basketball. If
right.
Buddy Hield can give you a little bit of what he gave you, you're gonna have a chance. But here's the reality: Timberwolves, you can't teach size. Okay,
Yeah.
so in football they have this thing like you can't teach fast, you cannot teach size, and at the end of the day, we're in a game where the biggest humans are typically going to win, right? Like because they
Yeah.
are the biggest humans. So Ant-Man, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, Shea SGA's cousin, like they just had Jaden McDaniels, like they've got size. They had it last year. It really, really served them well. They got it this year again. I'm going with Timberwolves in six for
So,
that one.
so let me dive into this. So, a few things. While I do agree, I think there's no way they're beating the Warriors in no less than a game seven, right? They're going to have to go game seven to
Mm.
beat the Warriors. And here's why. Watching the series, because my contract had me obligated to watch the Lakers at the time. Um, you saw that there are times in the game which kept the Lakers, close most of the games. They go cold from the field for whatever reason. Their offense
Mm-hmm.
gets very
Mm-hmm.
stale, and they could go from a team that is on fire, hitting all their shots, and they won't make a shot. I think I want to say, was it them that they went into? They missed like all their threes. It could
Oh,
have been
that was
another
that. That
team.
was game. No, that was game five of the playing the Lakers. They went for like 3 for 22 from three or something like that. They
It's
they were
crazy.
cold that game. They were
Yeah,
really bad. Yeah.
so they can, and this has been their identity even going back to last season. So
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and even with bringing in DiVincenzo and bringing in
Oh,
Randall.
forgot about
So I would say that while they can look intimidating, they can look big, they can look all these things, they still make dumb mistakes. They have a lot of turnovers, and you have a veteran team like the Warriors who in my opinion, Steph Curry is, I trust him to, capitalize off those mistakes more than Luca and LeBron. And
Mm-hmm.
LeBron's this in this stage of his career, right? And we're not talking about, Cleveland LeBron or Miami LeBron, okay? So that's why I say they can't beat them no more than seven, no less than seven, because you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to pull together some really good games because Jimmy, Steph, and Draymond, they're gonna keep you in these games, right? And they're gonna capitalize on the fact that these guys make mistakes. And here's another thing. They're gonna have to work harder. Someone's gonna have to chase Steph around. They're not gonna be
Mm-hmm.
getting those
Mm-hmm.
easy blow-bys like they were getting on a Austin Reeves, which Austin Reeves did a better job this year. He didn't get a lot of blow-bys, but I mean they were literally walking by Luca, right? Free
Yeah.
walk-throughs, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
LeBron at times, not helping out in the back end. And here's the thing: LeBron was playing center. Are you kidding me?
I
LeBron
mean,
was
but
playing
who
center.
the
So,
Draymond's playing center, right? Like they're the same size.
but
Like
but but Draymond has played that. Like LeBron hasn't had to play. LeBron has been a a glorified shooting guard slash power small forward for a long time. Occasionally a power forward, but for
Yeah.
him to jump into that role where Draymond's career has been power forward, small center, right? So I think those things are all going to come into play. So I got him in game seven. That's my thoughts.
I mean,
All right.
look, we'll see.
All right.
Um, so the next one is OKC, going
Ooh,
against
ooh, this is a good series,
OKC
Brad.
against the Nuggets. So yeah, I think it's a good series. I think this one will go close to seven, and the reason why I do that is because Jokic and Murray have been there before, and OKC hasn't
Mm,
quite done it.
yeah.
Um, I think I still think, like I mentioned from the jump, I still think OKC is the taking the championship this year. But
They got the deeper bench, so I think that would
they
be the their X factor, the
right,
deeper
right.
bench.
They have a more complete team. When you looking like top down from a defensive standpoint, like Murray isn't great at defense. Jokic is okay. He's serviceable. He's around the ball. Um, but like they're gonna pull Jokic out of the paint with Chet Holmgren.
Yeah,
Let's not forget
yeah.
our boy Hartenstein, who is over there who can give another body on trying to defend Jokic. So he's gonna have his work cut out for him. And they got perimeter players, man. Lou Dort, Jaden Williams, SGA. Like he's
No,
gonna get a lot of people in foul trouble, man. And
I
it's
think they're
gonna
gonna
be
put
tough.
Aaron on what you call it, to be honest, on
Aaron on
Chet,
who?
on Chet,
Okay,
because Aaron
I
is
can see
strong
that.
enough to deal with him. Because Chet is tall, but he's not strong.
Yeah, but
So
so you
so
think
then
Jokic gonna still stay down low?
yeah, with Harkenstein. Now
Yeah,
everybody they do switch on everything these days. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
so.
I think it'll be a good series. I think the experience takes it to seven, but I'm taking OKC in seven.
All right. All right. Well, there you have it, y'all. That's the Western Conference. We
Did
talk a
you do
lot.
yours? Your
Oh,
prediction for OKC Nugget?
I didn't. Ha, see, trying to get out of there. Nah, all right.
Yeah,
Let me get mine real quick and then we're gonna wrap it up. So I will say this is another series. I think it's going down to wire. It's just so well matched, I think. So
yeah.
they got size, they got shooters, they got defense. Although, you know, like I said, I think the edge for OKC is, they have a deeper bench and they don't go through those droughts as often you know, um, as Denver does in
Hmm.
these moments. But I think playoff basketball for Denver is a different story, right? And I
Yeah,
think
it
Murray
is.
comes alive in a different way. For whatever reason, this guy, Michael Porter Jr. just start hitting his shots all of a sudden.
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
all turn it up a little bit. Aaron Gordon just plays out of this world in the
Hmm.
playoffs.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's hard to say. I want to say maybe OKC in seven. But this could go either way. It really could,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it could be the veteran play that outweighs him, which is what my heart says. My gut says that it's probably going to really boil down to if you've been there, and then if that's the case, then you got to go with the Nuggets.
yeah. I would not be surprised. I'm still sticking with my pick, but I would not be surprised the Nuggets pull it off. The experience matters, championship DNA matters, and they have been there. I think the one thing that we didn't talk about for the Nuggets is that they don't have Mike Malone, which is really
Yes, and that's
different.
our
So
thing,
and
right? We talk
yeah.
about coaching, right?
So
Coaching is
we don't
important.
know. This guy just took over right before the playoffs. We really don't know if he's
Now,
good or
now,
not.
granted,
So
according to Jokic, he's been there for like 7 years. He's been a assistant coach.
around,
He's been with the organization. So, you know, yeah, so it's hard to say. And y'all see me glancing over here. There's like 5 seconds left in game one of the Boston Knicks game. So I'm just kind of glancing at it real quick. But hey, we hanging out, y'all. We hanging out. This is live, live podcast. We catching games. We got notes out here. But listen, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. All right. We could keep going. We're gonna get out of here. We're gonna jump right into the Eastern Conference, right? We're gonna do a full video on that. That way we don't cheat y'all on time. We want to rush it, right? So y'all stay tuned for the next video. We're gonna talk about the Eastern Conference and we're gonna give y'all a breakdown of each game, and then we're gonna give our predictions for the Eastern Conference. All right. Appreciate y'all taking the time and chilling with the crew. It's your boy Cleet the Geek. Got G Dub right here. Hey
yes,
man,
sir.
we just getting started, y'all. Appreciate y'all. All
All
right.
right.
All right. Should I stop it and then start it again?
It's
Could
up
I
to
do
you
that in
because
one?
you can
Yeah.
edit.
Yeah. Let me start.